everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a full face of a few new products that I've recently picked up. Some of them I've used them previous to this video, so I'll be able to kind of give you a little bit more of an insight on the product and how it works and how I like it and how I don't. Sadly, there were a lot of products in here that were a total bust, so that's always a bummer, especially when it's a very expensive product. So we're going to get into it, you guys. I have products from Huda Beauty, a few products from Chanel. I have the new Transition palette from Dominique Cosmetics. And I also have these new lippies from Charlotte Tilbury. They are the Hyaluronic plus Happikiss color balm. So I got two of them. I will try them on for you, share my thoughts on them. Lots to say about all these products, you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the application of all these products, and then we will get into some swatches and comparisons of some of these products next to some of the other products that I have in my collection. And then of course I will jump into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. So let's get into this full face of new products. So we're going to start with the Huda Beauty foundation. Now, as you can see in the bottle, I have used this several times. This is not my first time using it, but instead of dedicating an entire video to it, I am basically just going to give you my full review and thoughts on it. So I would say I have probably worn this maybe half a dozen times, 6-7 times. So I know how it wears. I have some tips and tricks. I did prep my skin with the Magic Cream from Charlotte Tilbury because I'm more dry normal. I need something hydrating underneath this. This is full coverage. It is a luminous finish. It's interesting because it is a luminous matte. It's exactly what it says it is. It works and functions like a matte foundation, but it just has a luminous finish. It's not as drying. However, the biggest tip I can give you with this foundation is do not use a lot. If you use a lot, it will get thick, cakey quick. A little bit goes a really long way. And so I start out with like a half a pump, and I take it as far as I can. I press it into my skin with a sponge, and that gives me great coverage. By the way, we all know it's a full coverage, but I would say using less, I probably get a really good medium coverage. If you use more, you're gonna get a full, but you're also gonna run the risk of it getting thick and cakey. This is in the shade Baklava 340G. So I grab it and I just start working it into the skin. And I like to apply it with a brush because I can control and spread it farther with a brush, but it just depends on what you're more comfortable with. And don't mind my orange hands. I'm waiting for these to go away, but I don't know how long it's gonna take. I will let you guys know in my February favorites which self-tanner made my hands look ridiculous, because it's ridiculous, you guys. Okay, so before I continue, I am gonna grab my sponge and I am going to press this into my skin. Also, because this is a very thick formula, I do like going in, like when I put down my Magic Cream, I like to go in with this immediately. If I let the Magic Cream kind of sit on my skin, it doesn't want to like blend into the skin as good. So you just want to kind of work your way with this one. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to put anything here yet because I am going to try out a new concealer from Mercier. It's a stick concealer. I'll leave that area blank, but also keep in mind, I get the best application when I use a clean brush. If I use a dirty brush, because the formula is so thick, it doesn't spread quite as good and as even with a dirty brush. So this is looking really beautiful and natural. And as you can see, the thin, even layer, I mean, I used pretty much a pump all over the face. And the pumps are small, by the way. So it also depends on, you know, one pump sounds like a lot, but it depends on the foundation pump. This one doesn't put out a lot, which is good because then you're controlling how much you're putting on. But I used a pump all over the face, and you can see that I got a decent medium coverage. You can still see, you know, a little bit of my skin kind of coming through, but my skin still looks like skin. Now, like I said, you can build this up if you need to, but just be really, really careful where you build it up. And if you're gonna build it up over texture, I recommend, you know, really pressing your sponge into your skin over top of the texture. And if you're having a hard time, because the way that it dries, if you're having a hard time getting the foundation to move, I recommend taking your sponge and just taking some setting spray and spray the sponge and then go over top, and it will kind of help to move the foundation because this is a matte foundation, it dries like a matte foundation. So like once it sets up and it's set down, it's kind of hard to move because it's supposed to kind of stay there, right? But you can see that I still have the luminous glow coming through. And this is exactly what it says. It's a luminous matte foundation. And I think it's beautiful. The shade matches me perfectly. And it's one of those foundations that I can wear all day. And by the end of the night, I will have a little bit of issues, like I'll start losing a little bit here, which is normal, but it looks really good. It lasts a really, really long time. I think whatever she did to this formula to change it was perfect. It was exactly what this foundation needed. When I used to wear the old version, it was so matte and it did not look good on my 41-year-old skin. It just did not look good, especially during the times that I was more dry. But this is still luminous and still looks really beautiful over the skin. Still gives you the great coverage, wears like a matte foundation. This is definitely one of those that I will wear if I'm going to go shopping, like if I have to run a bunch of errands and I know that I'm going to be putting my mask on and off throughout the day. This is a foundation that I will reach for because this, I wouldn't say it's fully mask proof, obviously, but this works really well with a mask. That is the 411 on the Huda Beauty Foundation. Let's move on to the concealer. So I have this new one from Laura Mercier. This is called the Secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. I think I got mine in the shade 3 Warm. So this is the concealer and this is the brightener. I'm not going to be using the brightener. It's just too light for me, but I'll definitely be testing out the concealer. I have worn this before, only once. I didn't love the way that it looked. I felt like it was just a little bit drying, and I'm thinking that this is a formula that probably works better not applying directly on, you know, sometimes stick products can be a little bit deceiving because you think because it's a stick you could be able to just go right straight in, which is what I did. And I used a little bit because I knew it was like a full coverage situation and I didn't want it to be too thick and too cakey because it does feel like a thicker formula. I'm wondering if I put some here on the back of my hand like this and then take a brush and pick it up off my hand. I'm wondering if the warmth of my hand will kind of warm it up so that I can apply it. So that's what I'm going to try this time because everybody seems to really love this concealer. But like I said, the first time I wore it, it just did not look good. And it kind of aged my under eyes. So I thought, well, you know, maybe we'll work with it and see. But this is definitely a formula that a little bit is going to go a really long way. Like you don't want to use too much of this. I can promise you that. So I went like this. And I just grabbed my brush and went down into it like this and apply. And I'm using the Bobbi Brown Full Coverage Touch-Up Concealer Brush. Now you can kind of see some of my darkness still kind of coming through, but again, I don't know that I want to build this. So I'm going to take the rest that's on the back of my hand and put it here on the sponge and just use the sponge to really push it into the skin just to make sure that it's more natural and, you know, it's not thick in any areas. It feels more drying to me. Like when I wore it, I remember thinking that it was a more drier formula that I don't really prefer. Now, this has great reviews on the Sephora website. So this has 4.4 out of 5 stars, and that's with like around 1,000 reviews. So people are really liking this concealer. So I don't know, it's not my favorite. This is the second time I've used it, and it's not my favorite. It's not bad, but I have better in my collection that I like more. So this is not the worst concealer I've ever used, but it's not my favorite. You know what I mean? Okay, so I went ahead and went off camera and finished my brows. Let's move on to the next product. So we have the Transition palette from Dominique Cosmetics. I have to say, I love her packaging. Every palette, thoroughly thought out, and I love them. I do. I love her packaging. I love the rose gold writing. Everything just looks very classy and just beautiful. So this is a palette that was created for everything. So you can use this palette to, you know, set your under eye. You can use this palette to contour, bronze, add blush, use it on your eyes. You can use it for pretty much anything you want on your face. So we're going to kind of play around with it today. Now, let me start this off by saying I am the worst at powder contour. It never looks right on me. It never works. And it always looks muddy, patchy, gross. Hate it. So I always use cream contour. But I'm going to try it today just to give it a whirl and see if it works. Because the thing that makes me a little bit confident in it is that her matte textures are always very buttery and smooth. I have all of her palettes. They're all very buttery. All of the mattes just blend beautifully. The Latte palette is probably one of my favorites. And it, like, her mattes just really creamy, blend into the crease. Very beautiful formula. So that is the only reason why I'm daring, well, and for the review, to do this on camera. So the first thing I need to do is powder, because the last thing I ever want to do is go on with powder contour, especially with my powder contour skills, with no powder on my face first. It's almost like you really need the powder on the face to kind of give you a smooth canvas to work on and blend in. So we're going to move on to the next product that I got from Chanel. So this is the Natural Finish Loose Powder. Number 30. This is not the first time I've used it. I got this a couple of days ago. So when I bought it, I couldn't wait to try it because I'm on the hunt to try to find a really good powder. Because you guys know that my favorite translucent setting powder is from Hourglass. I love that stuff. But I'm trying to kind of get out of my box and try to find other powders. But I used this the other day and it looked terrible. And I don't know if it was the brush or if it was I was in a hurry. We were actually getting ready to go down for Valentine's Day. We went down and rented a room at our favorite place at the Anniversary Inn. And we ordered DoorDash to keep everything safe and social distance and, you know, not be out. But we checked into our room, had a great night, hung out, watched movies all night, ate DoorDash, snacks, and it was so fun. It was the best Valentine's Day ever. But before we left, I tried this powder. It looked terrible, you guys. Absolutely terrible. I had to wash my face and start over. That's how bad it looked. So what it did was, it didn't like spread throughout my face. Like anywhere that I put the brush, I got like a patch mark. And I'm like, what in the hell is this? Now I will say the powder is very, very finely milled. So I was using this brush. This is the brush that I use to apply my Hourglass powder. This is the Master Face from Miss Sonia G. I might need to use maybe a little bit more of a fluffier brush. Maybe something like this. This is the actual Hourglass brush. I'm just going to try it, you guys. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about it because the last time I used it, it was a freaking hot mess. Okay. The other thing that I want to say is I don't like the packaging. I think I've been spoiled with the Hourglass because if you look at the Hourglass packaging, it has this little dome. And what you do is you tap the back of it and like tap it into the thing. And then it gives you like the perfect amount of powder. And it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So now that I've been kind of like going outside the Hourglass box and going into these packaging, I hate this kind of crap. It's a freaking mess and I don't like it. It's all over the powder puff, which drives me crazy. I'm going to put some down into the cap. Try to keep it as limited as possible because the other thing with me, you guys, is I like a little bit of powder to kind of set my makeup. I don't like a lot. I don't like a lot. So I'm going to tap off and just kind of go over. I just have a feeling that the brush and maybe it packed it on in one area too much and it just looked gross. So I'm hoping by doing this will help it to not look a mess. The forehead was where I noticed it the worst, so fingers crossed. I don't want to have to wipe off my makeup again because I hate doing my brows. Am I the only one that hates doing my brows? This is a thicker powder. This is thicker than the Hourglass powder. Even though this is finely milled, this is a thicker powder. And I don't know. I don't know that I love this. I don't know that I love this powder, you guys. I'm still kind of on the fence about it. I can actually see it sitting on my face. When I apply the Hourglass powder, I can't see it. I was nervous about the Chanel powder. Now I'm nervous about this powder contour. Okay, I'm gonna use this brush, which is the number 5 from Refer. I'm gonna go into this shade Toffee first because I think it might be a little too light for my contour, but I'm just gonna try it. And if I need to, I will dip into Mocha if it's not dark enough. We'll see. I don't like this powder. Ooh. I hope it looks better once I spray with some setting spray. And I don't like this concealer because now I don't even feel like I have concealer on. Like normally my under eyes are much more smooth. And I feel like this concealer emphasizes every freaking like wrinkle. I don't like it. I don't like the concealer. Okay, I'm going to grab Toffee and let's put Toffee right here. Okay, so Toffee's actually a good like bronzer shade for me. It's more of a light bronze. It's working, but I think I'm gonna dip into Mocha lightly. Oh shit skis. Okay. I'm gonna wipe the brush off and then just kind of blend it in. Oh, I told you I sucked at powder contour. I don't know what's going on right here, but you see that little spot right here? I think I might grab a little teeny bit of this. Maybe it's the lighter color of the two. See if I can kind of blend it out. Did that help? Let's see what this will look like as a little bit of bronzer. I mean, why not? We're here, right? And I think I'm going to dip between caramel and hazelnut. So hazelnut is right here, and this is caramel. I don't want it to get too dark. Okay, so it works, but it still isn't making me love powder contour. You know what I mean? It works as a bronzer though. And I do think this is a great palette for all different types of transitions and, you know, just kind of something to reach for. But I don't know. Like, I've got this patchy mark. I don't know if it's showing up on, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but like right here. And I don't have sun damage right there. So I'm not sure what this is. But it just doesn't look the best over my skin right there. So I got this also from Chanel. This is the Stick a Clot multi-use multi-stick glow stick. There's no color to this. There is absolutely no color to this. Okay, hold on tight, my friends. Let me understand what this is. So this is $45. It comes in 6 different shades. It is described as a moisturizing, glow-enhancing balm for face, eyes, and lips. The smooth, silky texture glides onto skin with a natural-looking glow. Designed with a twist-up case, this sheer hydrating balm formula delivers a fresh, dewy effect. It's a fresh, dewy effect with no color. And yeah, I know I'm applying it on orange hands. I hear you, okay? Let me show you on something that's not orange. How about that? You can't see it on my skin tone. Like, let me put some on the cheek. Okay. What is this? Okay, no, this is not for me. This is, I love to glow, okay? I like to be seen from the moon, but this is like a weird, like colorless, weird product. I don't get it. For $45. Okay, let me put some on the lip. How about that? Maybe this might be my new damn lip balm. They don't look different to me. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it was $45. Let's just grab a blush from this palette. This blushing shade, gorgeous. So just know that this is very pigmented and I got a little bit heavy-handed. I know. I can hear you telling me what the hell were you thinking. I know. Okay, I'm gonna put on a little bit of my Hourglass powder, you guys, because I need something to tone down my cheeks. Oh god. And I also don't want to go back into that Chanel powder because Lord knows that it is not gonna help me at all at this stage in the makeup. It's amazing what a little bit of powder will do, right? When you get a little bit heavy-handed, just go in with some powder. It fixes everything. So while I was on the Chanel website, this is what I grabbed. So this is what I went on to the Chanel website to pick up, was this. This is called the new Blush Eliminator. It's a blush powder. This is a limited edition blush created exclusively for Chanel Makeup Collection. The Luminous powder formula adds a touch of rosy champagne color and radiance to the complexion, embossed with a pearl motif. Use the tip of the included brush to add a subtle highlight on cheekbones and temples and sweep the flat across the entire face for an overall glow. It can also be used to enhance the shoulders and décolleté. This is the color. Okay, so this is the color, and it is a really pretty, like, rosy kind of flash. You can kind of see what it looks like. Use the brush that comes with it and just kind of, like, sweep through it like this. Tap off and just kind of go over top of my blush. And then, like, sweep it along here. And then bring it up and along here. Yeah, it actually looks really good. I don't mind it, but it's not worth $70. Let's put some of these shades on the eye. I'm also going to run that kind of messy underneath my lash line, kind of bringing it down a little bit lower. So I'm using just kind of like a bigger, like flat, fluffier brush. So this shade actually works really beautifully. And like for my skin tone, like I said, it's not too dark, it's not too light. It's kind of the perfect transition shade. And it's one of those, like, for those days that you don't really want to look like you're wearing makeup, but you want to kind of carve it the eye. This would be like the perfect shade to do that with. If I wasn't going to put on a ton of makeup, I would stop here, throw some mascara on, and be out the door. So it is a really, really great shade for that. And it's really pigmented too. So a little bit goes a long way. And I'm going to grab a little bit of toffee, which is right next to it. Just kind of deepen up the outer corner with that shade. Oh, these shades blend so beautifully, you guys. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go into Toffee and bring that on the lower. Let's go into Mocha, which is this shade right here. Bring that right here. Keeping it close to the outer corner. Bring some here on the lower right here. Bring some here on the lash line. Right. Now I'm going to go into the shade Natural, which is the second shade in the palette on the top row. I'm going to put that right on the eyelid and really brighten things up. These mattes are perfect for those who doesn't like shimmer. For those days where you just want like a solid matte eyeshadow look, I'm going to go into Toffee first, and I'm going to bring some Toffee right here on the outer corner. Then I'm going to go into Mocha, kind of carve out the outer corner. I'm going to grab a little bit of blushing, which is that second shade on the second row, which I used on my face. I'm going to bring blushing into the outer corner just to add a little bit of pink to it, just to kind of soften up the browns. So I'm just kind of being messy with it. Then I'm just going to go in with a blending brush and kind of blend it all out. Easy peasy. This palette is so easy to use. I mean, it is so easy, and I'm not getting any fallout. The mattes are blending like a dream. I don't love my contour and my bronzer, but like I said, y'all, I'm not good at all of that junk. So don't take my word for it. You know, if you're better at powder contour, you will probably enjoy this. If you love a powder contour, you will probably really enjoy this. And I kind of have a feeling the Chanel powder might have botched any chance I had of trying to make it work. Damn powder anyway. Okay, so I went ahead and finished the eyes. Let's move on to these hyaluronic color bombs from Charlotte Tilbury. So I got them in 2 shades. I picked up Happy Petal and Happy Berry. So these come in 8 different shades. They are $34 each, and they are described as a hyaluronic acid infused formula that provides the hydrating power of a balm with the color payoff of a lipstick for a pigmented dewy lip look, which is a twist. Okay, so I don't recommend twisting it up too high because you can't get it back down. Keep that in mind. So twist only what you're going to use because you can't put it back down, and you don't want it to be down in the bottom of the lid and waste your product, especially at $34. Okay, so this, ooh, these are pigmented. So this is Happy Petal and this is Happy Berry. These are pigmented. They're much more pigmented than I was expecting. Very interesting, right? Let's try them on. I'm going to go in with Happy Petal first. Okay, so they're very thick and apply really easily. I'm curious to see how long they last, but this looks really pretty. You get 2.4 grams. So I'm going to do the math right here for you. Editing Tara will do the math for you. I'm going to show you guys the price per gram for these versus her lipsticks. So you guys will see that right here. I won't see it until I'm editing, but that is pretty pricey for only 2.4 grams. And it does make you feel like they have a lot of product in here. It makes you feel like it goes all the way to the bottom, but it probably doesn't. So keep that in mind. Taking all of that away, this feels extremely comfortable. So you know how when you wear a gloss can kind of, you know, your lips will kind of stick together and, you know, depending on the formula of the gloss, but this gives you the look of a gloss without the feeling of a gloss. It's a thicker, very shiny formula. I personally am liking it so far. We'll see. Let's go in with Happy Berry. Let me say this. I think I like the first color first because this darker color is like one of those that like you can kind of see through it. Like you can see if you have it thicker in certain areas. Like for example, I got it a little thick here. And so it seems like the darker color as it kind of like sticks to your lip, it can get dark in certain areas. This is a beautiful shade. But I think, I don't know. I'm going to wear this because I kind of feel like this is going to ball up and be darker in spots. I feel like it might gather in certain areas. So I'm going to kind of keep my eye on it. But it is really pretty. That's it for all of the new products. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches of the products that I have. And then we will go ahead and jump into my final thoughts. So I just got done swatching. I hope that those swatches were helpful. Let's go ahead and get into my final thoughts. I'm going to first talk about the lip. So as you can see, it did what I thought it would do. So it kind of, you know, gathered up around the lip. It's probably been on for about an hour, but because it's a dark shade, it's kind of fading off. So what I have left is what's not being touched. You know what I mean? The spots on your lips that you don't really touch when you go like this, which is like the outside here and, you know, right along the line. So here's the thing. I like these, but I don't like the light. I don't like the dark shade. I might not be, unless you want to keep reapplying. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of the Petal Pink on, or the, what's this called? Happy Petal Pink, whatever. Happy Petal. Holy crap. Get it right, Tara. And we'll just kind of see how that wears. But I think the lighter colors are probably the way to go with this. I think I pretty much said all I need to say about the foundation when I was applying it. Applies beautifully, use a little bit, use a clean brush. If you get it thick in spots, spray your sponge with some setting spray to kind of, you know, thin it out a little bit. But if you get the right application, it's really beautiful and it lasts all day and it doesn't move around, but it still gives the skin a very nice luminous glow. So I really like it. It's not too much of a luminous, so it's not like a dewy glow, but it's a glow. And I really like this new formula, especially on those days when I need more coverage. Let's talk about the concealer. I think I've pretty much already covered that. I don't love the concealer. It's not my favorite. It's the second time I've tried it and it's just not my favorite formula. You know, I had high hopes for it because it's so highly rated on the Sephora website. But of course, I will continue to kind of play around with it and see if my opinion changes. I will continue to play with it, you know, update you guys in my review updates. But for now, this is a no-go. The powder. This is probably the least favorite product I used today. Like I said in the application, this just did not work for me the first time I used it. And don't get me wrong, using a fluffier brush definitely helped to spread this a little bit differently. And so it seems like a more compacted brush like this seems to put it in one spot. And once it attaches, ooh, it's not a very pretty sight. But using a fluffier brush, you can kind of wisp it into this foundation instead of putting it directly on. This is not my favorite. I know a lot of people love this powder. Definitely, I am not one of them. I've tried it twice now, and I just don't like the way it looks on my foundation right now. I'm going to continue to use it with other foundations. I know when I used it with the La Mer, like I said, I actually had to go upstairs and wipe my whole makeup off and wash my skin and do my skincare all over again, and it was a mess, especially when you're in a rush trying to get out the door. I should have known better not to use something that I've never used before on a day that I'm on a rush, but whatever. Okay, this is absolutely pointless. Absolutely pointless. I'm going to put it on the high points of my face. I'm going to put it like right here and see if it does anything, because this is just pointless to me. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. In fact, I have a white sponge here. I'm going to wipe the sponge with it so you can see that there's hardly any color. Like, it's hardly any color. I don't understand this product. I don't understand why it was even created. If anybody knows what this is, let me know in the comments down below, because I can understand that it's supposed to kind of make your skin look glossy, but there's no like base color to it. It's like just a hint of a color, a hint. It just doesn't have a base color to it. It needs something. It needs some color. I don't get it. So here's the thing. If it's just one of those like gloss sticks that's supposed to kind of just add some shine to the skin and kind of make it sticky, it's not worth $45. That's my point. Like, that is a ridiculous price for that kind of a product. So it's not worth it. Okay, let's talk about this from Chanel. Again, it's very beautiful, but I don't feel like this is worth the price point for this. This is $70. Not worth the money. It's pretty, but it's not worth the money. So if this was like $40 or $35, I would say, yeah, it's worth it. but for $70, it is 100% not worth it. That's just me. That's just my opinion. It does look really beautiful over the blush. This does not do anything to your skin that a light highlighter wouldn't do. Beautiful because you can kind of spread it over your blush and kind of highlight it, but here's the problem with that. When you do that, you're going to emphasize texture. If you have texture on your cheeks, you're going to emphasize it. So if you don't want to put it over your blush, you could wear it as a highlighter, but it's not a very strong highlight. So it's not like a metallic highlighter, you know, even though its swatch is pretty, but it applies differently. It really does. So I just do not think this is worth the $70. It's pretty, but it's not special enough. Like, my thing is when I spend $70 on a product, it needs to be special. Like, there needs to be something that makes it stand out and be special for that price. And I'm not really finding anything in this that makes it stand out. Moving on to the transition palette. Here's the thing. I will not be using this for any type of powder contouring. As you saw, I struggle with powder contour. I would definitely recommend setting your face with powder before going in with something like this, because this is pretty pigmented. But as far as eyeshadows go, it's beautiful. For me, this is definitely more for an eyeshadow palette. However, the only way to justify buying something like this is that if you were going to use it for contour and the eyes and all of that, you know, like blush and all, if you were going to use it for your face and your eyes. If you're somebody that loves powder contour, I think you'll really enjoy this. The pan size are big enough to, you know, get a good brush in there and get what you need. They're separated enough. You have the room, you know, so that you're not getting into another color. So it was a very well thought out palette. I think the shades are well thought out as far as the way that they're aligned. I think it makes it very easy for somebody to go in and use something like this. What I like about her matte shadows is that they are very easy to blend, and she does a great job on her matte shadows. So I think I pretty much covered the lip products from Charlotte Tilbury. That's my thoughts on that. So that's it for the video, you guys. Stand off down below in the comments section. Do you guys have any of the products that I used in today's video? If you do, what do you think of those products? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Let us know in the comments down below. Your guys' input is always so extremely helpful. So share with us in the comments section down below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope that you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Love you. Bye.